What would Glen do? We are starting this series off again. A lot of people want to know what I would do in their situation. A couple of things. If you are new to the podcast, I'll get one of our listeners on to share their current situation, and then we get kind of into solution mode. So I'll spend the first kind of bit, maybe half of the episode, really digging down on current situation, where everything is right now, what they want to know, what I would do. Then I'll proceed to tell them what I would do and why. A couple of other things. If you are in the Facebook group, you would have seen recently that I'm going to ask people what version of Glen that they want. So we'll get into today's episode. I've got Chrissy joining us from the Northern Territory. Chrissy, welcome to What Would Glen Do and Money, Money, Money.
Thanks, Glen. Long-time listener, first-time participant.
Yeah, well, I will be gentle. We're going to ask Chrissy what version of Glen she wants right after this. My name is Glen James, and you are listening to Money, Money, Money. Before we get into it, this show is general advice only, and I've got a license to provide that advice. Full details can be found in the show notes. I'm a former financial advisor. Now I do the Money, Money, Money podcast. If you're a regular here, we call it M3, and we do a podcast called Retire Right. I've got a book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, is available wherever good books are sold. There's a link in the show notes if you want to turn up your investing to 11, or if you're just getting started. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for being here today. All right, Chrissy, before we get into it, choose your Glen. You can dial in from 1, as meek and as kind as a church mouse; 2, caring and polite; 3, practical and realistic; 4, firm and will tell you straight; or 5, insulting and condescending, unhinged. What version of Glen would you like for our time together?
I think, can I choose a combination of 2 and 4?
No, you can't.
Okay, 3. Then we'll go in the middle.
Yeah, go in the middle, yeah. Okay, Chrissy, what do you want to know what I would do? Tell me about your sitch.
My sitch is that I left Sydney 2 years ago to move to remote Northern Territory, simply because career progression, and also the company that I work for offer housing included in our packages, and also like no utility bills, so no water bill, no power bill. I was paying a lot of rent in Sydney as a single mum, and I just thought I'm never going to get ahead paying $600 a week rent. So I just want to know what Glen would do to take advantage of the situation. I don't want to leave here in a few years. This site is set to shut down in a few years, basically just running out of dirt. And I just want to make sure I leave here not regretting that I didn't do more with the fact that I've got free rent and free utilities, which I know I'm in a very, very, very good position that a lot of families would kind of wish to be in right now. I don't want to leave here with regrets, basically.
Yeah, cool. And a lot of the questions I'll ask Chrissy, everyone, will be due to my own personal curiosity and also relative to how I would answer it. Now, what part of the Northern Territory are you?
So I'm in a town called Nhulunbuy. Do you want me to spell it for you? It's quite long.
No, I've got it here. I'm just putting it on Google Maps, and this is one of my personal interest questions, not relevant.
It's very remote.
Wow, you are. So everyone playing at home, if you are looking at Google Maps, you're at the opposite side of the Cape. Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. And so you can only get here from Darwin or Cairns.
Right. And what are you digging up? What's the company digging up?
Bauxites used to make aluminium.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
And shipping it down to where I am in the Hunter Valley to melt it down. Does it go to Tonga?
No, it goes to Gladstone in Queensland, I believe, and China. I think.
Yeah, cool. Because Gladstone's the big port there. So
yes.
Cool. Love that. So you've been up there for 2 years. Did you say? How old are you?
35. I've just turned 35.
Yeah, cool. Happy birthday. Or if it was
Thank you.
just as in 2 months ago. Happy birthday still. What's your actual occupation?
A materials handling operator is the
Okay.
title.
So is that a nice word for saying you drive one of the rigs, or are you on a
No,
production line?
I'm not working in the mine as a truck driver. It's taking care of more the infrastructure and conveyor belts that get the dirt from one end of the operation out onto the
Yeah,
ships to export it.
I know exactly because up at Kooragang Island here, they've got the big thing from the coal that
Yes.
comes in. It's in the piles and it goes over the road with conveyor belt, then
Yeah.
changes direction in the conveyor belt, and
Yes.
yeah, I love it.
So our department takes care of that entire operation.
Yes, sweet. What's your income at the moment?
I would say I've got a part-time job up here as well.
Okay,
So I'm going to say 150,000 conservatively
combined.
because my other job I can do overtime in my full-time job. My second job is on call, so I'll get an hourly rate. I have a retainer in that second job, and also an on-call rate. So depending on how much I get called out or how much overtime I pick up throughout the year, I would say 150,000 conservatively.
Now, is that for the two jobs? Sorry.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. And that 150K, so that effectively gets taxed, lands in your bank account, and your accommodation is furnished, your internet, electricity, all the utilities are furnished, right?
No, internet I pay for.
Yeah. But that's going to be like 80
My
bucks or something.
Yeah, $95
Yeah.
a month. My
Yeah.
furniture, they moved up here from Sydney for me, so it's all my stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, water and power are included.
Yeah, cool. And you've got children? Yes.
I've got one son, yes, a 10-year-old
Okay.
son.
Okay. And he's up there with you full time?
Yes,
Um, and how old's he?
10.
Cool.
I fly him
Um,
back down to Sydney every school holidays to see his dad.
yeah, cool. Do you have, in terms of the sound financial house that I talk about, I just want to go through that. Um, do you have any consumer debt?
Yes, I have a $30,000 car loan.
Okay. And what's the term of that, if you know it off the top of your head?
5 years?
Yeah. If you paid it off tomorrow, do you save interest, or is it a fixed thing where it's baked in for the 5 years? Do you know that? You don't have to.
I'm not sure, sorry.
Yeah.
It's
No,
fixed
that's
interest, but
okay.
yeah.
It might be one of them. And how long have you had the Hilux?
Only 6 months.
Okay, so you bought it up there?
Yes, yeah. You kind of need a four-wheel drive to go out bush into the rivers and
Yeah, I bet.
stuff to have a bit
Yeah.
of a life. We don't have like much entertainment up here. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I bought it because I didn't have a four-wheel drive when I came up from Sydney.
And given that was 30 grand, I'm assuming it was secondhand?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Where was the car loan through the dealership?
No, no, it was through like a broker.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I bought it second hand off a friend.
Yeah, okay. So no other debt other than the car loan?
No, no,
Cool.
nothing.
Okay, so how much cash do you have in savings at the moment?
About 3.5 grand.
Yeah, cool. Um, do you have your income insurances and death cover and disability cover in place?
I think they are done through my superannuation. I think I've got like
Okay.
TPD and death
Yeah.
cover. Yeah.
And have you ever tweaked them, or is it just
Have
the
I ever what?
default?
Sorry?
Like tweaked, like
No,
adjusted them yourself? No. Okay.
it's the default.
Um, cool, cool, cool. Um, do you have your wills and estate planning sorted?
No, it's something I've
No.
got to work on.
Yeah. Um, I'm just trying to think. Cashed up and debt free cash flow system. You've got the Glen James spending plan. Now you've sent
Yes.
that through. We'll have a quick look at that.
Hmm.
So if you are watching on YouTube, you'll see when I share the screen. Uh, did you complete this for me to see for this, or is this a live document that you use each month?
I completed it a few years ago,
Yeah.
and then I just completed it again because, yeah, to come on here.
Yeah. So you don't generally, how do you generally run your spending?
Um, I think that's why I'm on here, Glenn, because I probably need a bit of help with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of goes into my ING Direct account. I
Yep.
flick a bit of money into a few other savings accounts,
Yeah.
and then pay some bills, and then whatever's left over, I kind of get to spend. But I always find myself pulling out of my savings.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like you need a system. Let's have a look. So the
Mm-hmm.
purpose of me just looking at this spending plan, it's not necessarily for any reason other than just to ask questions and see if anything pops up. So you're
Mm-hmm.
basically your weekly spending. You're saying you probably need about $440 a week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just having a look here. Oh, it's so good. Like the accommodation cost, it's all empty because that's
I
furnished.
know, I know. I feel
Um,
really fortunate.
yeah, but you've had to sacrifice to go up there.
Yes, I've had to leave all
Five
my friends
grand a
and
year
family back home.
yeah, 5 grand a year in school fees,
Mm-hmm.
quarterly 600 in beauty, 160 a week for the car, private health insurance, optometrist, Pilates, that's fine. Um, car rego, yep. Just having a look, nothing jumps out. So the main takeaway, if you have done the spending plan, the first
Mm-hmm.
page you put your income in. So we've got here a fortnightly and monthly. So I'd imagine the fortnightly is the casual job, yeah?
Yeah, it's my part-time job,
Yeah,
correct.
there's a bit of child support. We've talked about the ongoing. The only thing in the outgoing is there is no allocation for gifts, holidays, and seasonal, and there's
Mm.
probably needs to be an allocation to fly your son back down to Sydney and back each quarter. Um,
Yeah, we get a travel
oh,
allowance
you
from
do?
our
Great.
work, so that's why I kind of didn't include it because I send him down there and then I just claim the money back from work.
Yeah, great. But the thing that I want to kind of talk about is on the third page, it tells you like the total net income because income is what we need to know. We want it as high as possible, but we need to work with after tax income. So you're
Mm-hmm.
saying that there's 100 grand that rocks up into your life at the moment over the course of the year. Your fixed costs are very low, 26K. Your weekly blow money, spend it on whatever you want, is also low at like 23 grand. Which leaves us 50 grand, right? So $1,000 a week left over. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That means 50 grand a year. We probably, given that you've only just filled this out for the sake of showing me, there could be
Yeah,
5 or 4 grand of kind of slippage in
yeah,
reality that's not in here, like
yeah,
your gifts and clothes and all that stuff. But
yeah,
so basically, I would say conservatively, you are dealing with probably 45 grand a year left over, right?
yeah.
That is not spoken for. So that being said, let's keep going. Where does the money go? So talk to us about salary sacrifice or investing and all that stuff.
Yeah, so my second job, my part-time job, that goes directly into my investment cash account. And I kind of just let that build up over like a month or two and then put that into some shares and ETFs.
Yeah.
My bulk of my money goes into, yeah, my main account. Um, Out of my pay, my company deduct my private health insurance.
Yep.
It's about $500 into a company share program, and I also do 3,000 per month into my super. I'm kind of saving through my super for the first homeowner super
Super
saver
saver
scheme.
scheme. Yep. Great.
Yeah. So I do 3K per month. I haven't really taken my super that seriously in the past, so I haven't hit my caps from the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've obviously sacrificed a fair bit this financial year, but I know because of my old caps that I won't go over.
How much is in your super fund and who's it with?
I think at the moment it's 144,000 in
Yeah.
super,
Yeah.
and it's with Australian Retirement Trust.
Yeah. Cool. Talk to me about the investment portfolio. How much is in the total account?
8,000. I've got 8,000 in my portfolio, and then in my company's staff share scheme, I've got about 13,000, 14,000 in company shares.
So the 8K in the portfolio, who's that with? What's that invested in?
The bulk of it's in DHHF, just an ETF.
Yep. And what platform?
CMC.
Yep. And how much is in the cash account on CMC at the moment?
$500. Yeah, I just
cool.
let my fortnightly pay from my second job accumulate and then buy parcels at about $1,000.
Yeah, great. And talk to us about this 13K and the $5,000. The 500 is the $500 a month company share plan.
Yes.
So at the moment you got 13K in there. Talk to me about that share plan. Why did you elect to do that?
Because every 3-year anniversary, they match the shares. So essentially you're getting half price shares in a really big mining conglomerate. So at that 3-year mark, so next year I'll be up here in January for 3 years, those shares will start to match.
Right. And is the company outside of the ASX 100 or is it a top 100 company?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Okay. Wink at me if it's BHP or Rio. Okay, it is. All right. So it is within the top 10, basically, Australian companies.
Oh,
or
there
it's
you go.
Subsidiary that a company that the ship owns. Okay.
Yes. And I get a bit fuzzy when it comes to details. I'm not great with details. I get a little bit flustered. So when it comes to looking at which is probably one of my biggest downfalls when it comes to money, when it comes to calculations and interest rates, it just all really confuses me and I kind of just sweep it under the rug and ignore it.
Yeah. So at the moment, it's basically you're giving up 6K a year in post-tax dollars to buy into the company plan. Is that what we're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
So what I'm doing, it's about 13% of your leftover money. So I think it's fine if you want to do it. It's awesome. You know, if you had all this other debt, we're probably like chilling out on this stuff to clean up your mess. And do those shares appear on the CMC?
No.
Like, is it no? But they will eventually when they vest. How it is like when you log into.
No, I started the share program when I first started here 2 years ago. I only started with CMC last year.
Right. So if you want to see what portal do you log into to see the shares?
I think it might be computer share at work on the work computers.
Okay. Yep. So that's the registry. Yeah. So there could be a way that you can have them show up in your brokerage account just for your own. Okay, computer share. Sweet. So you've got visibility over that. You might be able to log in and there might be some other portal, but that's irrelevant. When it comes to, so how long have you been up there? 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
And you've been working, earning that same amount for like 2 years-ish?
No, I changed departments last year and had a significant pay jump by about 30K.
Yeah, okay. And what month did you increase to the current earnings last year?
I think it was September, October.
Yeah, cool. All right, I think I've got enough information to make my judgment. I feel like I'm a judge at court, getting all the information. Oh, don't be nervous. I mean, do be nervous, but also don't.
Should I dial back to 201?
Yeah, if you want to do like a post-break dial down, we can.
That's okay.
But anyway, we'll be right back after this, and I'm going to tell Chrissy exactly what I would do in her situation. We'll be back right after this.
If you're after personal financial advice, don't get it from a podcast. But if you want guidance tailored to your situation, head to moneypodcast.com.au and click Get Help. We'll connect you with one of our trusted professionals, financial advisors and mortgage brokers, who work with people right across Australia. No matter where you are, they can help. Now, before we get back to the show, a quick reminder to protect your financial life. That means having income protection sorted. It means having death cover if there's any debt or dependents relying on you. It means getting your personal insurance in order. Most people insure their car, they insure their house, but what about themselves? Sky Wealth, who support this podcast, are specialist financial advisors who can help you get the right cover in place. Their advice is often more comprehensive and better value than going direct through your super. Book a complimentary 15-minute chat at sky.com.au. That's skye.com.au. And they'll point you in the right direction.
Okay, so before I tell you what exactly I would do, can you just clarify one thing? Is
Sure.
there an actual date where the company are like, where we've run out of shat in the ground, or is there a scheduled close date of the site at the moment?
Well, they've given us an approximate date, so fourth quarter 2029 or first quarter. I think it's or is it fourth quarter 2028? I think it's
either way. Let's just go end of 2028.
Yeah, I think it's first quarter of 2029. Yeah, correct. So it's about 3 years from now. Yeah.
Okay, so I want you, and I get what you're saying with you're not a details person and all that stuff, where I honestly think you've got at least 40 grand a year of after-tax dollars to maximise, right? And what suburb in Sydney were you living in?
Penrith.
Yeah, cool. So for example, you're paying 30 grand a year in rent in Penrith, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we, at the very least, like if it all goes to shat, if in 3 years' time you move back to Sydney and you don't have 90 grand saved, like that's a problem. It just means you've spent money. And by saved, I don't mean literally 90 grand in cash. I mean 90 grand wealth. Like at the very least, that's got to, does that make sense? If that's kind of got to be your baseline from here. I'm literally redoing the Glen James spending plan, detail everything out, full on dial that in, because, and then just set up the automated things. You get paid monthly and fortnightly. That's annoying. Do what I do, because I think I'm very similar to you with stuff. Like, weirdly, some things, I'll see a plane fly by and I'll know it's an A330 probably going to Manila, where I don't know if it's computer share or whatever on this other part of my life. So very micro in details with some random things, but other than that, whatever. Like, so that's what I'm picking up. So does that make sense?
Yes, yeah.
And also tell me if it doesn't. That's cool. Because I just really need to understand. What I'm probably doing is redoing the spending plan and just automating that and getting it all dialed up. So out of the cash hub every week, money's going to you, to your spending account, money's going to your investment account, literally moving money on a weekly basis from that cash hub, even though money's only lopping in every fortnightly and monthly, right? So I want to do that. Then my first target is, I think you need an emergency fund separate and set up of probably $12,000 to $15,000.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more, because you just need cash on hand, right? So your family and friends and your life is based in Sydney, right? If you get a phone call tomorrow and you have to be on the next plane out, and we've caught planes from the top end, it ain't cheap to fly back to Sydney.
No.
You know, sitting on $3.5 grand in liquid cash, I don't love that. So I'm probably pausing salary sacrifice. I'm probably keeping the car on the minimum repayments for now.
Okay.
And my whole reason for living is getting that emergency fund up to probably, the spending plan says 12 and a half. Given that you are a little bit more remote than the average bear, I'm probably just calling it 15 grand.
Sure. Yeah.
Quarantine it in a separate bank account, out of sight, out of mind. I'm contacting Sky Wealth, one of our show sponsors, to do a review of your insurances, because
Okay.
I don't, like, you've got ART, which is fine as super and all that, but if you couldn't work ever again, we need to make sure that you've got money there to buy a house outright with cash, you've got an income replaced and all that stuff. So I just want you to do that as well.
Okay.
So the car, I'm probably leaning, for the sake of this, on the side of just leave it 5 years, or is it $130 a week or whatever. It's likely a fixed thing. So if you paid it all off tomorrow, you won't save interest. Does that make sense?
Oh no, there's no early, sorry, I thought you meant the fixed interest rate. There's no early break fee. I can pay it off early.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably on that one. I'm not dying on a hill. If you just want ticking in the background, get on with your life. If you're like, because you've got plenty of meat floating around, and the textbook says, well, it's only 30 grand and you should be able to save at least 30 grand easy a year. Why do we have a car loan?
Sure.
And really, as I'm talking about this, and if it sounds like I'm confused and I've got no idea what I'm talking about, it's because I am confused and I've got no idea what I'm talking about. So what I'm probably saying is, get the emergency fund done first, get the Glen James spending plan done first, and next, factor in your income insurance and get all that sorted. Then what I want you to do is make a judgment call. Okay, do I want to piss off this 30 grand and just attack it? Like, just go, over the next 18 months. Are you confident that you will be up there for at least 2 years going forward?
Yeah. I'm going to try and see it out till the end, like to the next 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is why I'm not dying on the car hill, given that the circumstance is a bit, you're in remote, we want a higher emergency fund. I don't know. I'm just not dying on that hill at the moment. Get your wills and your estate plan sorted. In terms of super, just review do you know what it's invested in?
I'm not sure, sorry.
Okay. No,
I've got it in high growth. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it in high growth.
Sounds reasonable. Sounds good. Now, what I am probably doing, do we know how much average super balance for 35-year-old? I'm just having a look at the average. So you're well above the average.
Yeah, my super's very healthy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before I upped it to 3,000 when I got this pay rise, I was salary sacrificing 1,000 per month. So for a couple of years now, it's been getting a good cash injection. Yeah.
What I'm probably going to say is, in a perfect world, at the end of 3 years, will you likely move back to Sydney, or are you open to moving to Hobart or moving to...
We won't move back to Sydney. I can't see that. We just come back from Christmas and New Year's there, and it's just way too busy for us now, considering where we live at the moment. So the cards are kind of looking like Queensland, maybe, but it's all up in the air for the next 3 years until we have to move. But I doubt it will be Sydney.
Yeah. So given that you want to use this first home super save scheme to maximise your first home deposit, right?
Yeah.
As part of that scheme, you can only put in 15 grand a year.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm personally doing, I think, is dialing the sacrifice back only to that 15K a year, right?
Okay.
Then what I want you to do, and this is the title of this series, everyone, is what Glen would do. So this is all I would do, Chrissy could be like, that's cute, you're a dickhead, not doing it. That's fine. Until it's called, what will Chrissy do? This is what Glen will do. I'm then probably, over the next 3 years, not investing. I'm probably even turning off the extra money that's going into an investment portfolio.
Both of them?
No, just over, keep the company one, that's fine.
Okay.
But how much, you've got $8,000 in DHHF, how much is going into DHHF a month? Or are you just putting leftovers?
I've got $6,000 in DHHF.
Right. And how much were you feeding that a month?
Not much. Maybe like 500, 600 a month.
So I'm just looking here. I need to do my calculator. See, this is everyone. I'm sloppy because I haven't done these episodes for a long time, and I just ask for everyone's patience while I get more match fit. And I usually have a calculator here, and it's a different skill set to kind of do this fast and on the fly. So what I'm basically doing, given everything you've told me about details, I can see that we're hemorrhaging a little bit of money, not because you're over the top, just because there's no system, right?
Yes, yeah.
I'm probably doing this, $45,000 a year. This is after the emergency fund is fully funded, right?
Okay.
$45,000 divided by 52, that's $865 a week, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm probably back calculating the Glen James spending plan, and at least once the emergency fund's finished, and it's kind of, the mental gymnastics is similar. Like, I'm saying pause salary sacrifice above the $15,000 a year.
Yeah.
Because we've only got, you can only do $15,000 anyway. $50,000 anyway. Then what I'm saying is we want to pause the other investing, and even just keep the car loan ticking along. And I just want you to build cash.
Okay.
Literally, you need to set up the Glen James spending plan. So when money gets paid into your pay account, there's a separate bank account that's with a different bank, so you cannot see this money unless you log into it. It's not on you don't have the app on your phone. And you just set a weekly payment from that cash hub of $865 or thereabouts. Call it 800, whatever. It's probably going to be around 45.
Mm-hmm.
And just every single month or every week, that's saving.
Yeah.
The reason why, in 3 years' time, I want you to be able to move to Queensland and buy a home, because I don't know if it was in here or in, I don't know if we said it before the recording, but about like buying a house to live in, yeah?
Yes.
Is that one of the kind of underlying things? Is like, I want to maximize this opportunity up there, so it's not wasted when I move and do something in post.
Yeah, like I have something to show for it when I leave. That's right.
Yeah. So there's something to show for it. I'm doing the assumption that you want to buy a house when you've finished up there.
Mm-hmm.
However, you could literally save up cash and buy an investment property somewhere else.
Yeah, that I would love to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, or you can save up cash and keep pumping the DHHF. But the problem is sometimes with investing in ETFs, and if people log in and they see the market move and they get scared, they sell out, and it just costs them everything. It's just all this opportunity. So I'm of the mindset, really, number one, at least we need to be putting $800 a week, the very least, in another account. And then what I want you to do in the background, probably a year out of being up there, start to look at what you're going to do with your career. Like, will you keep the job with the same employer, or will you think you'll likely have to?
I'd like to stay with the same company, yes, but I'd love to be able to drop down to another job that I'd like to pursue, but the money is such a steep drop that I'm not sure if I financially would be able to.
Yeah.
It'd be great to be able to leave here and go, I can do whatever I want and drop down to whatever salary I want.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is I'm 100% thinking at the end of 2028, when I move away from the top end, do I want to live in a house that I own? Now, if the answer is yes, I'm probably just saving cash. And remember, this is just Glen, this is just conservative. If the answer is maybe, I'm probably still getting the emergency fund built up, keeping that cash saving, speak to Sphere Home Loans, one of our show partners, see if you can borrow and buy an investment property elsewhere.
Sure.
If it's a hard no, well, I don't want to actually, I'm happy to rent because could leave here, could get another opportunity here at the Hunter Valley working in a similar situation with good income. I'm happy just to rent. But the whole thing is you really just want to, as I said, maximize, and there's 3 forks in the road how to maximize. It's like 100% cash to buy the house,
Okay.
100% equities, or 100% save up a deposit for a investment property and buy that. The reason why I don't think I want to save and buy an investment property or a share portfolio, if the goal is to buy a house to live in, I think 3 years is too short to buy a growth asset. Now, if you did say, well, I'll buy some shares or just keep pumping DHHF, or I'll just keep punching an investment property, and in 3 years I'll sell it and then take the profit and buy a house, you could do that. But if the markets have tanked in 3 years, or the investment property isn't worth what you paid for it, or the worst case scenario, it just means that you just keep renting until they recover and then sell to buy the house. So like anything, it just comes back to what your goals are in terms of probably living arrangement. And if you don't know, that's never a bad thing to be holding 150 grand in cash for the short term. And in the short term, in our world, is probably under 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, okay.
But you will win. So you will absolutely crush it with money if you plug the Glen James spending plan in and let the automations do the heavy lifting. Automate and let time pass, separate bank accounts, but you should 100% not be in your position, not financially, but also location, running on the line with only 3.5 grand in cash.
Yeah.
Now,
too easy.
Do you have any other questions that have just come into your head off the back of all that?
No, not really. I just I guess I thought I was doing myself a favor with all the salary sacrifices, but now it sounds like maybe I haven't been.
I wouldn't say it's not a favor. I'm just saying if your superannuation balance is relatively healthy, I just think because we want to take advantage of the situation, it all goes back to what is a realistic, and it doesn't have to be rock solid. It could be at the moment, best guess, probably want to buy a house. Okay, well, let's just save cash. In a year's time, if, I don't know, you meet someone up there and you're like, oh, I'm staying here forever, the situation changes, right?
Yeah.
So I think we do our best guess. At the moment, our best guess is at the end of 2028, when I move away, where is it? And would it be my ideal thing to buy a house? And I think that answer there changes everything. So, and based on that, I think you would only really want to be salary sacrificing at the moment if it is to buy a house to live in, only up to that 15K a year.
Yeah.
Because in 3 years' time, if you've got a heap of cash running along, well, you can always use the catch-up contributions anyway over the last 5 years.
Yeah. I think that's what I was trying to do, was trying to exhaust my previous year's caps. And like pull some of it out for a first home, but also just pump up obviously I have a 10-year-old, so back then I wasn't getting as much super as what I do now. So I was trying to exhaust those caps from 5 years ago at the same time as saving for our first home.
Yeah, and I don't think it's as mission critical to exhaust
Sure.
to catch up the caps, because it's not as if it's like, oh, we've got 500 grand sitting here, we need to maximise the tax effectiveness.
Yeah.
So we can't waste caps. I'm saying probably not the end of the world if you only do up to that 15 grand a year.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool.
I don't know. I guess that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Other than that, I just had a random question. The private health insurance, that's taken out of your pay. Is that because it's through a group policy with work?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I signed up for it when I first started up here. Yeah, and it was subsidized by work, so that's why.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole thing is I would really congratulate you for taking a risk and leaving everything that you knew in order to go to the unknown, higher amount of money, smash and grab it. And you're the type of person who in 3 years' time, when you've got, at least, you really want to have at least 130 to 50 grand, maybe more, of capital, either in cash, invested, or in a property over the next 3 years. So when you can go back to wherever you want to live, and you're one of the people in the Facebook group to go, oh, hey everyone, I'm a 40-year-old mum, I've got my home that I own, like a mortgage, got a good income, life's pretty good. Everyone's like, how did you do it? World's crazy. And you're like, well, I literally moved away and sacrificed to get that higher income.
I literally this morning while I was washing the dishes was listening to yours and John's episode about what sacrifices it's taken to get where people are. So yeah, that's very, very true.
Yeah. So anyway, can't wreck it. Just tightening the systems. And we'll leave it there. Well, thank you, Chrissy. Thank you so much for joining us. And apologies if I am a bit sloppy and I do need to get rematch fit
No, you're right.
for this. But thank you so much for joining us today and good luck with everything.
No, thanks for the advice and everything you do for the community. I bumped into a friend in Woolworths yesterday and I said, I saw that you're a part of, that Facebook group. I'm doing like an episode with Glenn tomorrow. So yeah,
awesome.
Really appreciate everything that you put out there into the world. It's really cool.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Chrissy, and to everyone, bye.
Any advice is general financial advice only, which does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Because of that, you should consider if the advice is appropriate to you and your needs before acting on the information. If you do choose to buy a financial product, read the Product Disclosure Statement, PDS, and Target Market Determination, TMD, and obtain appropriate financial advice tailored to your needs. Simo Interactive Pty Ltd, the publisher of this podcast, and Glen James are authorised representatives of Money Sherpa Pty Ltd, which holds financial services license 451289. Opinions or comments from any guests on the podcast are theirs and not those of the host or the publisher or their respective license holders.